picture this. You're sitting on your couch, or maybe you're at your desk at work,
Right.
and your phone is just sitting face up right next to your hand. You are waiting for a text back from, the specific person.
Oh, we've all been there.
Right. Maybe it's your partner, or like maybe it's someone you've just started seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, the screen lights up, it buzzes, your heart does that little hopeful jump, and you just snatch the phone up.
You're practically holding your breath.
Exactly. You look at the notification, and it's a promotional email from a shoe store.
Oh, the worst.
It really is. You feel this immediate, just hollow pang of disappointment. But here's the crazy part. Even though you just saw that it wasn't them, you unlock your phone anyway.
You can't help it.
You open up the quiet chat box. You stare at the last message you sent, the one just hanging there in the digital void.
Yeah.
And you know full well there is no new message. And then you lock the phone, put it down, and the agonizing wait just starts all over again.
It's just so painfully universally relatable.
Yeah, it really is. So welcome to today's deep dive. What we're doing today is we're looking at the invisible psychological gears turning in your head while you stare at that blank screen.
The sheer amount of mental energy that gets consumed in that cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's staggering.
Right. It completely hijacks the present moment.
Exactly. It pulls your focus entirely away from the physical room you're sitting in, and it basically traps it in a digital waiting room.
So to understand this, we are pulling from some incredibly insightful clinical research. The source today is this fascinating book, The Psychology of Waiting: Reclaiming Your Emotional Sovereignty.
It's a fantastic read.
It really is. Our mission today is to unpack exactly why a delayed reply can completely derail your entire day. And far more importantly, we're going to figure out how to take back the reins of your own emotional stability.
And approaching this from a clinical perspective really elevates the conversation, I think.
How so?
Well, this isn't just, a shallow critique of modern dating or just another complaint about smartphone addiction. What we are really looking at here is human attachment systems.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's about how our brains process the unknown and these hidden emotional dependencies we build without even realizing it.
Okay, let's unpack this because there's a major revelation in the source that completely flips the script on what we think we're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
The book says that when you are waiting for a text, you aren't actually waiting for the words.
Which sounds counterintuitive, but it's so true.
Right. Like you aren't waiting for them to say yes or no or hello. You are actually waiting for confirmation.
Exactly. The literal text message is really just a delivery vehicle.
A delivery vehicle.
Yeah, the actual payload is psychological reassurance.
Reassurance. Right. So you're seeking confirmation that the other person is still there, that the relationship isn't broken, that you are still cared for,
Yes.
and that your future with this person hasn't just, suddenly spiraled out of control while you were looking the other way.
That's the core of it.
I was thinking about this, and it struck me, it's exactly like repeatedly checking the locks on your front door at night.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. When you jiggle that deadbolt for the third time, you aren't actually checking the physical metal mechanism to see if the gears are functioning.
No, of course not.
You are checking to reassure yourself of the feeling of safety. You just want to feel secure in your house so you can finally go to sleep.
Which means the focus has completely shifted.
What do you mean?
Well, if you are checking a lock for internal reassurance, you aren't actually concerned about the person on the other end of the phone anymore.
Oh, wow. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah. When you think you're just impatiently waiting for someone's thumbs to finish typing on a keyboard, you're projecting the problem outward onto them.
Right, like why are they so slow?
Exactly. But when you realize you're seeking a feeling of internal security, it becomes about your own emotional baseline.
Okay.
The dynamic changes from their communication habits to your own internal need for safety.
But, if we are just looking for safety, it's wild that silence, literally just a lack of noise, is what the brain interprets as an active threat.
It is wild, isn't it?
A blank chat box isn't a weapon, but it feels incredibly dangerous.
Well, psychology categorizes this under a clinical concept known as uncertainty anxiety.
Uncertainty, anxiety.
Right, because the human brain isn't actually terrified of bad news.
Wait, really?
Really. And certainly isn't afraid of busy schedules. What it's absolutely terrified of is a void of information.
A complete vacuum.
Yes. Think about it this way. If the person texts you and says, hey, I'm super busy at work today, I'll text you tonight, your anxiety almost completely vanishes.
Oh, totally. You just go about your day.
Exactly. You don't panic. It's the not knowing that triggers the panic.
Like, why haven't they replied? What are they doing right now? Are we in a fight and no one told me?
Right. Because nature abhors a vacuum, and
Okay.
so does the human mind.
It's so
When faced with a void of information, the brain refuses to just leave it blank. It attempts to fix the uncertainty by autofilling the plot.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. And I have to challenge the brain's logic here because it is always a terrible plot.
Always.
You always assume they're ignoring you or, they're out meeting someone else or they're drafting this massive breakup text in their notes app.
A total catastrophe.
Right. Your mind forces you to live through a tragic, heartbreaking future that hasn't even happened. But, I mean, why?
That feels irrational, doesn't it?
Completely. Isn't auto-filling the plot with a breakup just extreme self-sabotage? Like,
Yeah.
why doesn't it autofill a comedy where the person is just busy saving a basket of orphaned puppies from a burning building?
I mean, we would all prefer the puppy scenario.
Right.
But while it feels irrational in the context of modern dating, it's actually your brain's primal survival mechanism working perfectly.
Survival mechanism.
Yes. The brain treats the unknown, any unknown, as a potential threat to your physical and emotional survival.
Oh, I see.
From an evolutionary standpoint, imagine you hear a rustle in the bushes.
Okay.
If you assume it's just the wind, but it's actually a tiger,
Mhm.
you don't survive.
Game over.
Exactly. But if you assume it's a tiger and it's just the wind, you survive to see another day.
Wow. So it's better to be wrong and terrified than oblivious and dead.
Precisely. Your brain is hardwired to prepare you for the absolute worst-case scenario because that is how it keeps you safe.
So by making you vividly imagine the breakup, it thinks it's emotionally bracing you for the impact.
Yes, it's trying to protect you.
So it's basically trying to do me a favor by making me miserable in advance.
That's one way to look at it, yeah.
But, you've probably seen this happen with your own friends, where two people react completely differently to the exact same delay.
Oh, all the time.
Like, someone doesn't text back for 4 hours, one friend will immediately spiral into a full-blown panic attack, totally convinced the relationship is over.
Mm-hmm.
But then another friend will just shrug, put their phone away, and genuinely not give it a second thought. If this is a universal evolutionary trait, like you said with the tiger, why is there such a dramatic difference?
Well, that dramatic difference in reaction, the source points out, is fundamentally about a damaged trust system.
A damaged trust system.
Yeah. We are talking about the ghosts of betrayals past.
Ah, so for someone who has never been lied to in a relationship, silence is just silence.
Exactly. It holds no hidden meaning.
But if you have experienced lies or concealment or, emotional infidelity, some deep betrayal in your past, your brain is completely rewired.
It goes into a permanent alert mode.
Permanent alert mode. And in that alert mode, every single delayed text isn't just an annoyance.
No, it's aggressively flagged by your internal security system as a potential risk.
I want to clarify this really quick because society gets this wrong a lot.
They really do.
When someone is relentlessly checking their phone, refreshing the app over and over, looking to see if their partner's activity status is green,
Yeah.
they usually get labeled as clingy or, overly paranoid.
And the source is very clear on this. It is not paranoia.
It's not.
No. It is learned experience.
Wow, learned experience.
Yes. Their personal history has taught them, in very painful ways, that danger is real. They have tangible evidence that people lie, and that silence precedes abandonment.
That makes so much sense.
So when they seem to be investigating, or like frantically checking up on a partner, they are desperately searching for a feeling of safety based on past trauma.
They're just trying to verify that the tiger isn't in the bushes this time.
Exactly. Reframing that behavior as a nervous system adaptation rather than a character flaw is incredibly validating for people.
It really is. But even if it's understandable, living in that constant state of hyperalert has massive collateral damage.
Oh, it's exhausting.
Right. It doesn't just affect their romantic relationship. It bleeds into the rest of a person's daily life.
Because the issue really transcends romance. What's happening is you are outsourcing your emotional stability system entirely to someone else.
Which is so dangerous.
Extremely. When you do that, the relationship downgrades from a healthy companionship into an anxious dependency.
Your emotions literally become a seesaw controlled by their thumbs.
That is a perfect image.
Right. Like a quick reply brings instant relief. and you are just on top of the world.
But a slow reply brings absolute despair.
The world is ending
Yeah.
because your brain is running this constant, exhausting background program asking, why haven't they replied? Are they mad? Did I say something wrong?
And that shifts the main axis of your life completely.
Your work efficiency plummets. Your gym sessions become mindless and weak. You try to read a book, and you realize you've been staring at the exact same page for 20 minutes without absorbing a single word.
Because your cognitive load is maxed out.
Right.
Human brains have a finite amount of working memory.
Like RAM in a computer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That working memory is meant to hold the immediate tasks you are doing, like reading a sentence or calculating a spreadsheet. But uncertainty anxiety is incredibly greedy.
It just takes over.
It hogs almost all of your available processing power, leaving you with barely enough mental RAM to function.
It is exactly like when your laptop fan starts screaming, right?
Yes.
And your battery is mysteriously dying in 20 minutes.
Even though you just charged it.
Exactly. You look at your screen and everything seems fine. You just have like a Word document open.
Right.
But there is some hidden app running in the background, desperately pinging a server, just eating up 99% of your processing power.
That's exactly what it is.
You literally cannot do your actual important work until you find that app and force quit it.
And the mental fatigue from that is profound. It leaves you feeling entirely powerless because the server you are pinging is another human being whose actions you cannot control.
Okay, so since we know this hidden background program is draining our battery and ruining our day, how do we actually force quit it?
That's the million-dollar question.
Because the common advice you get from friends or like magazines is always something along the lines of just distract yourself, go watch a movie, don't think about it.
Which is terrible advice.
The clinical psychology points out that this advice is entirely useless.
Completely useless. Trying to just distract yourself usually fails because it only attempts to treat the symptoms.
How so?
Well, if you sit on a couch and put on a movie to distract yourself, you are in a passive state.
Okay.
You aren't actively using your cognitive load. You are just waiting for the movie to entertain you. And in that passive state, your brain still has plenty of leftover processing power to wonder why the text hasn't arrived.
The classic don't think of a pink elephant problem.
Exactly. The harder you try to suppress the thought, the more energy you dedicate to it.
You just end up sitting in a movie theater, completely ignoring the plot, hyperfixating on how much you aren't thinking about your phone.
We've all done it.
So the actual cure requires a much more active approach. The source calls this concept refilling your life.
And refilling your life is a highly effective strategy because it leverages how our brain prioritizes tasks.
Right. When you genuinely engage in something demanding like, when you dive deep into solving a complex work problem.
Or actively learn a new skill.
Yeah, or when you push yourself physically in a really hard workout, or when you sit down to create something. A magical shift happens in your brain. The relationship anxiety is forcefully pushed to the back of the queue.
Because going back to your laptop analogy, you are opening up heavy, demanding applications that you actually want to run.
Oh, I love that.
When you demand that your brain focus on a complex spreadsheet or a heavy set of deadlifts, the operating system is forced to deprioritize the anxious background program.
It literally has to pull processing power away from the anxiety to fund the physical or mental action you're taking.
Exactly. You don't magically forget the relationship exists. It's not amnesia.
Right.
But your brain recognizes that you have presented it with more immediate, more important tasks to prioritize.
The relationship remains a part of your life, but it no longer consumes 100% of your attention. You're putting it back in its proper proportion.
And the mechanics of why that works are just fascinating.
Tell me more about that.
Well, action and creation are the direct antidotes to rumination.
Rumination being that endless looping thought process.
Yes, the what ifs and whys. Rumination thrives in a passive state. It feeds on inactivity.
Okay.
When you are sitting and waiting, you are a passive victim of time. But when you create, when you output effort toward your own goals, you shift into an active state. You reestablish your agency.
Taking back the processing power.
Precisely.
Let's get really practical here, because understanding the philosophy is one thing, but we really need a tool for the moment of crisis.
We do.
The research highlights an immediate, actionable tool you can use the very next time your phone buzzes, or the next time you feel that urge to open up the chat app.
Yes, it's a behavioral hack we can call the chat box litmus test.
The chat box litmus test.
The premise is incredibly sharp. The next time you feel that physical pull, that compulsion to reach for your phone, unlock the screen and open the chat box. You pause.
Just a slight pause.
In that microsecond of choice, you ask yourself one specific question.
And what's the question?
Am I seeking information or am I alleviating anxiety?
Am I seeking information or am I alleviating anxiety? Wow, that cuts right through the rationalizations we make, doesn't it?
It forces you to be honest.
Right. Like, if you are genuinely just seeking information, checking what time they said to meet for dinner or finding an address, then fine, check it. That's a logistical necessity.
Sure.
But if you are honest with yourself and you realize you are only opening the app to soothe your anxiety, you have to stop.
You force yourself to complete the immediate physical task at hand first.
So what does this all mean in practice?
It means you delay the compulsion. You insert friction into an otherwise automatic habit.
So you tell yourself, I will check my phone, but first I have to finish typing this one work email.
Exactly.
Or I will check, but first I have to read one more page of this book.
Yep.
Or run one more kilometer, do one more set of weights.
Just one more thing.
Right. And by the time you finish that task and return to your phone, the blinding emotional urgency will have dramatically faded.
Because it breaks the immediate stimulus response loop.
Ah, the loop.
When you feel anxiety, your conditioned response is to check the phone for a dopamine hit of reassurance.
Right.
But by inserting a productive task in between the anxiety and the phone checking, you are essentially starving the anxiety loop.
You're proving to your nervous system that you can actually tolerate the discomfort of waiting.
Yes.
So in practice, this little litmus test acts as a circuit breaker.
That's a great term for it.
It inserts a crucial rational pause between feeling the panic and blindly acting on the panic. It gives your logical brain just enough time to step in and say, hey, we are okay. The house isn't on fire. We don't need to check the locks again right now.
And over time, those small circuit-breaking moments accumulate into a profound sense of self-control. You are systematically retraining your brain's threat detection system.
Which perfectly brings us to the ultimate goal of all of this, right? Achieving true maturity and what the source calls emotional sovereignty.
Emotional sovereignty.
And it is so important how we define maturity here, because maturity isn't apathy.
No, not at all.
It is not about becoming cold or building walls or, pretending you never get anxious.
Or pretending you don't care if the person texts you back.
Exactly.
Apathy is just another defense mechanism. It's a way of hiding. True maturity is acknowledging the anxiety, but refusing to let it govern your actions.
It's knowing, like deep in your bones, that even if the text doesn't come today, you can still have a really great day.
Yes.
It is the realization that a relationship is a part of your life. It is not the entirety of your life.
That distinction is everything.
True security doesn't come from finding a partner who promises to always reply to your texts in 30 seconds or less. I mean, that's an impossible standard anyway.
It'll just set you up for failure.
Right. True security comes from knowing you have a rich, self-sustaining life regardless of their message. Your world continues to turn, your passions continue to grow, and your value remains entirely intact, whether that chat box is full or empty.
You become the ruler of your own internal state.
I love that.
But this raises a much broader question, one that expands beyond romantic relationships and challenges us to look at the architecture of our entire lives.
Oh, interesting. Where else does this apply?
Well, if we can recognize this uncertainty anxiety so clearly when waiting for a text message, we have to ask, where else in our lives have we unknowingly outsourced our emotional sovereignty?
Wow, yeah.
Are we sitting at our desks, staring at an inbox, waiting for a boss's email with that exact same paralyzing dread?
I know people who do exactly that.
Right. Or are we waiting for a client's approval or a specific number of likes on a social media post, allowing those delayed digital signals to act as the ultimate judge of our self-worth?
We totally do that.
The question isn't just how to stop checking our phones. It's how we can start building an internal emotional fortress so strong and a life so richly filled with our own purpose that absolutely no external delay, romantic, professional, or otherwise, can ever drain our battery again.
That is the real work right there. Because at the end of the day, when you are sitting on the couch, staring at that phone and looking into that quiet, empty chat box, the only person who can actually reassure you that everything is going to be okay is you.